guys, welcome to the video on directed numbers. Just like the other math lessons that I'm hoping to do more of, basically I just want to take you through question by question and clarify what it's asking. Now, directed numbers is kind of an interesting topic because when you studied in a math class, we called it integers. So directed numbers, integers, basically the exact same thing. We're looking at positive and negative numbers. Now this is a review from earlier in the year. This is a concept that you covered with Miss Fior before she left. The reason that we're choosing to review this one is because grade 7 is the first time that you see integers. So as many times as possible, we want to review it just because we want it to become common knowledge. So basically I'm going to take you through it. The first page, question 1, it talks about plot the following sets of points on a number line. That's pretty straightforward. It's just asking you to tell me where these points are. So this first one that says 0, 2, 3, 5, 0, 2, 3, and 5. I'm just going to plot those on there. That's what you're going to do. You're going to do it right on that paper. This is one of those assignments, like a lot of math assignments, that are a little bit easier to do if you print it out, but you can also do it in the PDF version. Next one. So you know how to do the rest of that question. I'm not going to take you through it. The next one is the odd numbers that are less than 6. I see that 6 is right here. Any odd number under it. 5. I'm not going to do 4 because 4 is an even number. 3. I'm not going to do 2. It's even. 1. Again, pretty straightforward. All right. So this next one is find the position of M if it moves. So if M moves 3 places to the right, 1, 2, 3, it's here at, oh, goodness me, I pointed to 12, but I wrote 13. It is at 12. Pretty straightforward for that first page. What is the opposite of each of the statements? Going up, what's the opposite of that? It's going down. Going north, going south. You guys can figure out the rest of it. This question too is where I've gotten most questions from students so far. So it says in each of the following statements, write a directed number to show the size and direction of the number. I get that that is stated in a little bit of a confusing way. So a directed number, remember, it's saying write an integer, which is another way of saying write a number that can be either positive or negative. So Michelle deposited $30. So we know that the number that we're dealing with is 30. Now the question we need to ask is that positive or negative? We know that that is a positive because it's making our bank account go up. Now, if it said Michelle withdrew $30, then would have negative 30. All right, next one, showing distance and direction. State where you would be from your starting point if you traveled. So if I traveled 8 kilometers east and then 3 kilometers west, how far would I be from my starting point? Now, there's math equations that I can use to do that. So if I travel plus 8 and then I minus 3 kilometers, where am I at? So 8 minus 3 equals 5. So it's asking me where from my starting point I am. Again, I'm just doing the first question on each one to show you how it works. Write a number sentence for a deposit of $10 and a deposit of $5. So again, it's writing a number sentence, this is a number sentence, so it's showing me in numbers. So plus 10, and then also there's a deposit of 5. So it's saying, show me the number sentence. I'm going to do the second one just because it's different. A deposit of $14 and then a withdrawal of 9. All right. Next page, topic 3. Question 1, represent each of the following trips on the number line using a directed number, a positive or a negative number. So it's saying from 0 to plus 3, how far in between are each of these? So we can see that this is 3 places in between. We also can tell that just by, because 0 to 3. That's pretty, it's almost like rote memory for us. The next one is from -3 to +2. How far is that distance? All right, circle the larger number. Remember that the thing that you want to be paying attention to here is it positive or is it negative? Because a really big negative number is a lot smaller than a really small positive number. So I'm going to actually pick one of the ones that look the hardest. So remember how I told you that if a teacher is going to demonstrate something, you quickly go through them and see which one you think is going to be the hardest, and you get them to demonstrate that one. Because if you can understand how the hardest one is done, you can figure out the other ones. So circle the larger number. I want to know, is -9 bigger or is -3 bigger? So basically it's asking me on a number line, which one is going to be the furthest this way? So if this is my 0, my 3 is here, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. My -9 is here. I can see that my -3 is furthest that way, and so -3 is bigger. Again, depending on how comfortable you were when you did the integer topic with Miss Fior, some of this might be really, really fast for you, and some of it might be a little bit harder. Use the number line to complete the following. So it's basically just giving you simple math questions. Now, the thing about simple math questions is that when we're introducing to a brand new concept like integers, it can make sense in our head, but when we're actually applying it, it's not part of our nature yet. So, you know, if I ask you, what's 2 + 4? That's really basic. You've been doing it since a young grade. They're both positive numbers. It makes sense to me. I can say 6. If I ask you what 8 - 5 is, again, I've seen that so many times. You've seen that so many times. I can easily do that. As soon as I start mixing up these positive and negative numbers, it gets harder. So -1 + 8, so that's this one here. And remember, it's saying you can use a number line. There's lots of number lines on this assignment, but you might want to draw one. So if I have a 0 and I'm at -1 and it's saying +8, so I'm going this way 8 spots. I'm bumping 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, and it's asking me, what is that spot right there? All right, again, it's not as easy for us because we haven't done it as much. One of the things to know is that I could even reverse the order of this. I can say +8 - 1, and I can make that a sentence that makes a little bit more sense to me. Next one is arrange in ascending order. So I want to start with my very smallest number and work my way up. I know that of all of these, the very biggest one is 3. I know my very smallest one is -7. And then I'm going to plot all of my numbers in between. Again, if you have problems with any of these questions, just let me know. Put less than or greater than to make true sentences. Now, I'm sure that you guys have gotten tips and tricks throughout your math career. Something that made sense to me when I was younger, and I still use it even as I'm older, is that these larger than and less than, they're basically like an alligator mouth, and it always wants the biggest number. So I'm just going to make the alligator eat whatever the biggest number is. Now I know that's like a grade 3 way of explaining it, but if my teacher brain still does it, if it helps even one of you, it's cool to put out my cheesy ways of doing my math. But that is the greater than symbol. So if I said this sentence out loud, I would say 7 is greater than -3. Now the next one is just asking you to do some addition problems. Now it looks a little confusing when we have plus plus. So when you were doing it with Miss Bior, I'm sure that you probably had little parentheses around here to make it make sense. But it's basically saying this is an addition problem, and this one here, it's between two positive numbers. So what is 6 plus 9? I know that it's 15. I'm going to get used to writing that plus there because I know I'm working with directed numbers or integers. So I want to always clarify whether it is a positive or a negative number. The next one is finding each sum, but you'll notice that while question 1 is all positive numbers, question 2 works in negative numbers. So it's asking me plus 3 plus minus 6. Again, I can put these parentheses around it to make it make more sense. Now, one of the things to remember about this for math is that if you are adding a negative number, it's like subtracting a positive number. So I could just say 3 minus 6 for this one, and it might make more sense to me in my head. But if you're having difficulties with this, you can use the number line again. If this makes sense in your head, you can do that. So basically, I'm going to come up to minus 3. Not giving you a ton of instruction on this because I know that this is review. I just want to clarify what each question is doing. Add it together. You guys know how to do that. We've done questions like this. Find the answer to these additions. Again, anytime that it says plus plus, you can put a little parentheses in there to make it make a little bit more sense. Now, the next one, find the values of the following. Some of these have 3 numbers. So it's plus 7, plus 2, plus 3. So which gives me plus 12. And then this one, find the missing number. So if I have 4 and I get 1 at the end, what did I do? I added a negative 3. Now I know that I subtracted 3. A way to write that as an addition question is that I added negative 3. All right, find the answers for the following questions. Again, these are very similar to the ones that we've already done. Complete these subtractions, very similar to the ones we've already done. Remember that when we're minusing a minus, it's like adding a positive. So if I say plus 5 minus negative 2, I can actually just say plus 5 plus positive 2. And the way that that makes sense, let's see if I can do this on a number line for you to make that make sense. So if I'm at positive 5 and I want to go this way, negative 2, it means that I'm actually going this way too. And then I end up with 7. Whenever we're subtracting negatives, it's like living in opposite day. It makes sense for the first little while, but after a while, we really need to train our brains to do it naturally. Find each difference. Again, these are similar to all the questions that we've done so far. It's just doing a lot of them, so it's ingraining it into your brain. Now we're getting into the multiplication and division. Multiplication and division, I'm just going to quickly review the rules. If you times a negative and a positive number together, so a negative and a positive together will always equal a negative. No matter what order I put that in, if I do a negative times a positive, it's always going to be a negative. If I times a positive times a positive, it's always going to be positive. And if I times a negative times a negative, it's also going to be positive. Now, again, I know you guys have done this. The multiplication and division side of it, it's just like any multiplication and division. So if I'm looking at this, and so say I'm looking at this and I'm saying plus 5 times minus 3, the 5 times 3 part, that's the same. I know that my number there is going to be 15. Now I just need to figure out if it's a positive or a negative integer. I see that I have 1 positive and 1 negative, so my outcome is going to be a negative. And it's the same with division. These same rules here apply to my division question. So I look at my question, I do the number part first, so let's do this one. 20 divided by 5, I know that my number part of it is going to be 4, and then I look at the signs of each of these numbers. They're both positive, it's a positive. If I was looking, say, at this one, I do my 18 divided by 2. I know that the number part is going to be 9. If I review it, I see that there's a positive and a negative, and we know that by our